Hey everyone, Mrs. Barker again, and I'm still in my Santa hat, really enjoying the Christmas theme. How did it go with your sleigh diagram? Did you remember to use a ruler and include all the key features? I hope it went really well. I'm looking forward to seeing them. Today, we're going to have a go at writing our own pages for this book, your own explanation texts. So let's read one of the pages as an example. And whilst I'm reading, can you have a think for me about some of the features you might notice, and then we'll pause the video for you to have a think about what you've noticed. So it's a bit of a longer section. So, research and development. Where do all the toys come from? All the toys that Santa delivers come from his toy department. This is divided into two main sections. The first department is the research and development. This is where the toys are invented. A lot of the toys come from ideas sent in by children. The rest are invented here. It can take quite a long time to go from this idea stage to a finished toy, sometimes years. So the first part is brainstorming. Notice that section? I wonder what feature that is. The research and development department is divided into four sections. The first is brainstorming. This is where elves sit down with Santa and think up the ideas. They also look at the ideas that children have sent in. Design. The second section is design. This is where more elves work out how to make the toys in a practical way. They have to understand materials, manufacturing, and children. They must also be able to draw. I wonder if you could be in that department. Prototyping. The plans and instructions for the new toys are then sent to a section called prototyping. This is where the first toy of the new design is made. The elf engineers have to be very skilled at all sorts of things. They must be able to sew, make models, do engineering, paint, make moulds, and be good with electronics, to name just a few. They are real craftsmen. Testing. When a new toy, or a prototype, as it is called, is finished, it is sent to the testing section. Here it is tested for fun, safety, and reliability. Very important. If it passes all of these tests, then it will be put into production. They will start making it in the factory. If it fails any of the tests, it's sent back to the design department for improvements. If it fails all of these tests, its parts will be recycled and the plans thrown away. Hopefully most of them are successful. So have a think now, pause the video. What features of an explanation text did you notice? I'll bring up a list in a second. So one of the features of an explanation text is a heading or a title. This is this section in the book, bold and a bit bigger, okay? And it's a short question because we're explaining something. You ask a question, you explain it. Also in there are the subheadings, these sections here, okay? Short words to tell you what each section is about. The next section is the introduction, okay? Just there. Once you've got the introduction, you then have to put it in chronological order as to the different sections, the different stages. You can see that by some of the chronological words that they use. For example, first, second, next, etc. You've also got some diagrams or some illustrations, some arrows pointing to which section goes next, and you've got a final paragraph to explain what happens last, okay? And some impersonal tone, so it's not an active thing, it's not like our diary, we're not talking about I, we and me, we're talking about what happens, you're talking about the technical aspects. So, for the first section of your work on creating an explanation text, you'll need to choose a question you want to explain. Perhaps, how does Santa's suit work? Or, how does he deliver the presents and get down the chimney? Or maybe you've got one of your own. Have a think now for what you want your question to be. Once you've decided what you want your question to be and what you want the answer to be, write your question in the heading box on your sheet, which is part of your work pack. Pause the video now whilst you write your question down. If you want to, you can always write this down in draft and then write it up in neat. For the next part, you need to decide, just like this page, what the different subheadings and stages are of your explanation. You need to write these in the subheading boxes on your work sheet. Pause the video now to write your subheadings. Next, you'll need to write your introduction or your opening paragraph. So that's an introduction to your explanation. What are the key bits of information your reader needs to know? Pause your video now and write your introduction for me. Next, you need to write your other sections, just like they've got here, the section about brainstorming and design. So, under each of your subheadings, remember to include words like first, next, and also technical words, perhaps things like deliver, travel, parcel, computer, system, transport. Write in the present tense. That means things like make, not made, or fly, not flew. Pause the video now and start writing your sections. This might take you a while, okay? But have a really good go. And then in the middle of your worksheet, you've got a diagram section. Create a diagram, a bit like we did with our sleigh diagram that you made, that would go with your explanation. Maybe it's a diagram of Santa's suit, or a diagram of the world and how he travels around it. Use what you learnt from doing your sleigh diagram, so things like doing the labels with rulers. And finally, write a couple of sentences for your final conclusion, your final paragraph. What do you need to remember about your explanation? What were the key facts about explaining Santa's suit or how he travels? Pause the video now and create your explanation text. Spend some time on it. Remember, you can use the checklist that's in this video and the things that I've explained to you to make sure you've covered all the features. And remember, you can also write a draft and check some spellings with an adult or ask us some questions. Spend some real time creating something really interesting, and maybe we can create our own How Santa Really Works book. That would be really exciting to share with everybody. Remember, if you can, once you have finished your work, put a photo of your explanation text in your Microsoft Teams in your class, and your teacher will then offer you some feedback. We'd love to see that. Good luck, guys, and I'll see you in the next lesson.